of a former president and the current president battling over who will be the president in the next 4 years. And of course, many people are already claiming that CNN is preparing to rig this debate. They showed off their microphone muting technology, which is fairly rudimentary. It's a couple of green lights, and when the green lights are on, you can talk, and when they're off, you can't. A lot of people expect that this will be heavily weighted against Donald Trump, but we will see. We will see. There's some interesting news that's been coming out. One, Gavin Newsom is going to be a surrogate for Joe Biden. And that gets me thinking. You know, I had that wild, half-serious, probably less than half-serious claim or idea that Newsom would run out on stage at a rally and save the life of Joe Biden. Well, many of us are wondering, what is the purpose of a debate when you've got one guy who can ad-lib for 5 hours straight? Sometimes, please, Trump, stop. I've been at rallies. We've watched speeches where it's like, man, this guy really, he's an Energizer bunny. He doesn't stop. You got that guy debating Joe Biden. And we're wondering, what is the purpose of that debate? Because it doesn't seem like Joe Biden's going to be able to pull it off. One of the things I absolutely love is that the media is claiming it's a conspiracy theory. This was on CNN. They were like, MAGA world is pushing the conspiracy theory that Joe Biden is undergoing like medical treatments and sleep. Okay, so, you know, Biden's apparently at Camp David or something like that. And likely what they're doing, and I think this is totally reasonable, is they're adjusting his sleep schedule so that he's going to wake up an hour before the debate. So he's going to sleep longer, get rested up. They're probably giving him IV drip therapy and things like this. And then when he wakes up at 6 p.m., he will be geared up and ready to go by 7 to be on the debate stage at 9. I mean, maybe even not even 6. Maybe they'll have him wake up at 7. I think that's totally reasonable to assume, considering Biden's age. Nope. Conspiracy theory. So today, as we have this historic moment, this morning I give you an extended live stream because we're going to be setting up our multi-streaming system. We will be broadcasting this tremendous American history on X, YouTube, and Rumble. And for that, we are going to have a multi-broadcast, multi-stream, and we'll be setting it up earlier. So I'm actually thinking that we'll do a couple hours here live. We'll see. Maybe we won't. But we'll go over some of the news, and we got a handful of different stories. Project 2025 is one of the biggest stories that's been bubbling up. And right now, Democrats are latching onto it as their attack point for this debate. They say that Project 2025 is Donald Trump's Hitlerian plan for destroying democracy. And you know what's really funny is the way they frame it. We got the Chicago Sun-Times, shout out to my hometown, with saying that Donald Trump's Project 2025 is to destroy the rule of law and all that stuff, when in fact it's quite the opposite. Project 2025 is a 1,000-page think tank document basically saying, like, here's how we fix these laws. Here's how we secure the border. Here's how we deal with foreign policy. And the reality is it will undermine the plan of corrupt establishment political forces. That's it. I assume most Americans would agree with these things. The polling shows it. So we'll talk about that. Democrats' plan for the debates, CNN fact checkers, the accusations of rigging. And then we actually have a lot of polling data coming out. Donald Trump is projected to win by The Economist as of today. 538 has a pure toss-up, but 538 rejects several polls they don't like. Real Clear Politics has Donald Trump up 1.5 points in the election. So we are, man, I can't believe it. We are just about 4 months away from the future, the beginning of the end, or the new start. I don't know. It's going to be wild. And it's looking today, as many expect, Donald Trump is far, far ahead. I don't know what this debate gives us, but everybody really does believe that Biden cannot perform well, that there's nothing they have that's going to get him over the edge because he's a doddering old man with a bad memory who was ruled incompetent to stand trial. I kid you not. I mean, Trump brings this up in the debate, and this is huge. Trump just says, you know, if he calls Trump a convicted felon, Trump just says, and sure, you were accused of the exact same crime, but ruled incompetent to stand trial. So what have you there? But it'll be particularly fascinating to see. So get in your super chats. We're going to be hanging out this morning. I'm thinking I've got a bunch of stories already pulled up, and I'm thinking I might just do an extended 2-hour live show with some audience interaction for today's Tim Pool Morning Show, because we want to start getting ready for the debate. we're going to have a party here. We're going to have food, pizza, wings, and other snacks. And we're going to be watching the commentary show. Now, there is also the component of CNN threatening to take everybody down. But I would say 99% of legal opinions that we've already gone through have been, it's unequivocal fair use. I mean, you cannot privatize presidential debates. You cannot do it. There is nothing greater. You want to make an argument about like a mayoral election and your right to broadcast statements and stuff, and you're still going to be in the territory of this is the public's right to know, and you cannot withhold this and claim copyright over it. The president, there's nothing above this. The most important political circumstance, the most important element of your civic responsibilities to know who your president is going to be, because this will set the stage for American foreign policy and executive agenda, which is border security, which is working deals with the legislative bodies, potentially vetoing certain policies, advancing certain policies, executive orders. Nothing is more important than this election. And don't get me wrong, this is not just about the presidency, but it's Congress as well. There's going to be several Senate seats up. There's going to be, obviously every seat in Congress. And we're hoping that Republicans win this one and that we do see elements of Project 2025 enacted. Well, let's start here. What is Project 2025 and why are the Democrats freaking out? I love this stuff. Sun Times says Project 2025 is Trump's blueprint to get rid of democracy and the rule of law. In a potential second Donald Trump presidency, the Conservative Heritage Foundation plans to remake government in the mold of dictator Viktor Orban of Hungary. Ah, yes. In the mold of dictator. Here we go. All right. The presidential election is still 4 months away. The major parties have not officially nominated their candidates, and the first debate has yet to take place. But preparations already are underway for a second Donald Trump presidency, and they should alarm every American of every political persuasion. They don't. Trump supporters are particularly excited about it, but sure. Who is concerned about preserving democracy and the rule of law? Let me tell you about the rule of law. We had a great conversation last night with Arthur Bloom. I hope you all check it out on Timcast IRL. It was 40 minutes of intense debate. And maybe it's not fair. I mean, a lot of people were, and I try not to be crass. I'm a fan of Tucker Carlson. He had that viral bit with a reporter where he's like, I apologize. I'm not trying to be rude. Perhaps we'd be great friends if I knew you. Well, in this conversation with Arthur Bloom last night, it was 40 minutes of me basically challenging his ideas about why Bannon should be in prison and why Merrick Garland should not be. And none of this. You want to talk about the rule of law. Now, a lot of people were chatting saying that it made me look good. But, look, it's all relative in comparison. Me being able to argue and articulate my points against someone who hasn't thought theirs out is not necessarily showing that I have any talent at all. It would be like Mike Tyson boxing a toddler. You know what I mean? The toddler can't hold their weight against them. It doesn't make Mike Tyson good. Any adult could box a toddler. We don't want that to happen, but you get my point. The point is this: preserving democracy and the rule of law. Let me give you this one. The reason why I brought up last night's debate, Eric Holder under Obama was held in contempt. Nothing happened. And the argument made by Bloom was that that's the norm. People get held in contempt of Congress. Nothing happens. And I said, okay. Then Democrats have crossed the Rubicon by putting Peter Navarro of the Trump administration in prison. He's there now. And sending Steve Bannon, he'll be going to prison in 4 days. 4 days. So 5 days. And so if the argument is this isn't what happens, and it is Democrats who have crossed the Rubicon and have abused the rule of law. If now the standard is that we will imprison people for contempt of Congress, Merrick Garland, the current AG, was just held in contempt of Congress. And here is the order of operations. Joe Biden is found to have committed a crime. That's right. This is a fact, not up for dispute. Joe Biden had classified documents in his office, in his garage, numerous locations. Illegal. Now, normally we say we don't really prosecute former presidents for documents. You have to go after everybody. But Democrats crossed the Rubicon. They are charging Trump for this. Not to mention, they put cover sheets, they staged the photo evidence and distributed it to the press. Amazing. So if Joe Biden committed a crime, step one, Republicans in Congress requested audio recordings of the conversation that was had with Joe Biden and Robert Hur, I think Robert Hur is his name, to understand why Joe Biden will not be prosecuted for this crime, despite the fact Donald Trump is for the same crime. The argument was that Joe Biden is not competent to stand trial. I kid you not. They said he's an old man with a bad memory and it's not going to work. You can't prosecute him. He is not competent to stand trial. Okay, well, Republicans said, give us the audio recording because we want to hear this. For all you know, in the audio recording, Joe Biden says something like, you're not going to do it. Don't write that down. Who knows? Well, they refused to turn it over. Merrick Garland, the AG, was subpoenaed. Congress said, we are demanding this evidence. Merrick Garland said no. They said, okay, Merrick Garland, you are in contempt of Congress. Boom. Merrick Garland said no. They referred to the DOJ, a criminal complaint, a criminal referral for Merrick Garland for contempt of Congress, and the DOJ said no. Now, hold on there a minute. Rule of law sometimes. What's going on? Steve Bannon's going to prison. Peter Navarro's in prison. Now, if you are a liberal and you don't like those guys, congratulations, you got them. They're going to prison. Now, for the exact same law you've requested, Merrick Garland is also in violation. And what happens? The DOJ is refusing to prosecute what is explicitly a crime for which two other executive branch members are going to prison for their duties while they were in the executive branch. Rule of law. Yeah, sorry, there is no rule of law. Spare me, Chicago Sun-Times. The next move made by Republicans will be inherent contempt, where they can empower the sergeant at arms to make the arrest himself. Congress enforcing its own subpoenas because the DOJ won't. Hasn't been done in 100 years. So let's talk about the rule of law then. Let's move on here. Sometimes says an extremist dark money slime machine is preparing a list of federal civil servants deemed disloyal to Trump, who could be reclassified, reassigned, or fired if he takes office. The Associated Press reports the chilling plot, a revival of McCarthyism that traumatized a post-war America, is part of the dystopian agenda known as Project 2025. I got to be honest, Project 2025 is a whole lot of nothing. I'm not trying to disrespect anybody involved. It's a think tank's ideas of what they would like to see happen. That's about it. For all we know, Donald Trump gets elected and he goes, yeah, no, I appreciate the document. You know, a lot of my guys are interested in looking through this, and we will do some of it. They're acting like this is a manifesto of Trump world where Trump has banged an iron fist on the counter screaming like this is what shall be done. No, it's a think tank wrote it up and we're interested to see some of the ideas enacted, I guess. But welcome to the crazy paranoid reality. Now, I love when they say the revival of McCarthyism. Shout out to Jack Posobiec. That's like his thing. They say key to the agenda is purging the government of nonpartisan government officials sworn to uphold the Constitution and replacing them with sycophants loyal only to Trump. Yet literally no one's making that argument. You are making that argument. No one is making that argument. The argument is to remove loyalists and put in nonpartisan staffers who will do right by the Constitution. The entire federal government would be placed under direct presidential control. What? This includes the Department of Justice, which Trump has vowed to use to prosecute his political enemies. The DOJ is under the president's control. And these people are nuts. The purge would pave the way for a Trump administration to impose a radical, repressive and regressive regime, one that could endure long beyond Trump's constitutionally mandated term or even his lifetime. A vice president, Mike Pence, and officials committed to the rule of law in the Departments of Justice, Defense, and Homeland Security thwarted the attempted Trump coup in 2020 and 2021. In a second term, there won't be any officials who place the rule of law above Trumpism. The agenda proposed in Project 2025 is grisly. Grisly, they say. All right, here we go. Let's go, baby. Dismantling the foundations of immigration policy, tearing families apart, turning away desperate refugees, and stripping away protections from dreamers. Oh, let me translate that for you. I speak Democrat-ese. Okay, so dismantling the foundations of immigration policy is a nonsense term, not rooted in any kind of news reporting. I would say Project 2025 plans to implement new immigration policy. Tearing families apart. Project 2025 proposes we deport illegal immigrants. Okay. Turning away desperate refugees and stripping away protections from dreamers. Once again, they propose deporting illegal immigrants and requiring a legal apparatus by which people would seek asylum. I'm sorry. I mean, like, if you really want to play this game, you're not going to win it, media, but you're lucky that we are honorable people and we don't play this game. Let's try this. How about I rewrite the Democrat vision under Joe Biden? Joe Biden's plan is to dismantle the foundations of our immigration policy, to allow criminal cartels and gangs to rape and murder young women in this country, as we have already seen over and over again, to allow the flooding of our cities by criminal gangs and homeless illegal immigrants sleeping in tents, to give away your apartments, your hotels at your expense to illegal immigrants. Now, come on. Those things have happened. And then for Dreamers to offer up amnesty to those who illegally enter the country, regardless of their criminal status. We just got another story of a child that was raped by an illegal immigrant. Okay, these stories happen too much. There should be none. And the Democrats come out and say, what's the difference between if an illegal immigrant committed the murder or anyone else? We could have told the illegal immigrant not to come in. That's it. This is really, it's a wild argument. I am living in my house and we have 3 roommates. I know who they are. We hang out together. We play Magic the Gathering on Friday nights and watch UFC fights on Saturdays. And then one day, in a fit of rage, one of my roommates attacks one of my other roommates. And we are shocked. We couldn't believe it. We knew this guy. He was here. He paid rent. We've known him for a couple of years. That's a tragedy. The difference between him and, say, a guy, we left our door open and in the middle of the night, a strange man walked in and murdered one of our roommates. The difference there is close and lock your door. One could have easily been prevented, and one is a tragedy we did not expect. The reason why we're asking to lock the door is because we don't want strangers coming in and raping and murdering people. If your roommate does it, it's just it's a shocking thing you hope doesn't happen and you didn't expect to happen. Now, in reality, it's much more nuanced as we get into a massive country. We know there are criminals here and we are trying to stop them, but they're here. That doesn't mean we should accept letting in more. That's ridiculous. But let's move on to the next policy proposed by Project 2025. Undermining climate change mitigation, environmental justice, and the transition to clean energy. Oh, boy. Well, I certainly love this one because what I want to point out, what I want to say here is undermining climate change mitigation doesn't mean anything. It's meaningless, okay? I'm not a fan of pollution and all the stuff that we're seeing, right? It is not good. It is not good that we've got dead zones in the ocean. It is not good that we've got plastic waste in the Pacific, mostly coming from Southeast Asia. I think these things are bad. Americans drinking with paper straws doesn't change that because we're not the contributors to the Pacific garbage patch and things like that. But I will tell you this. Shout out to our good friend Mark Cuban. I ain't taking no climate change advice from a guy who owns private jets. I ain't taking no climate change advice from a guy who's got beachfront property. Now, Mark Cuban doesn't have beachfront property. He's got beach view property. There's land before it. But Obama's Martha's Vineyard is supposed to be underwater, according to NOAA, in the next 100 years. So it's their attitude is we're going to buy land that's worthless in the long run because we're going to enjoy it now. Oh, come on, dude. I just don't trust these people. There's a really funny meme where it's a yacht with jet wings and 10 engines. And then it says billionaires : and it shows that. And then it says under it, you using a soggy straw to end climate change. And it's yes, you get the point. So you want to talk about undermining climate change mitigation? I'm going to shout out all of the mainstream corporate elites, celebrities or otherwise, who are the ones claiming to be fighting climate change and pollution, but are the absolute examples and the epitome of hypocrisy. And this is what is inspiring people. Dude, people see the yacht. Mark Cuban, people see your private jet. And you know what young men are thinking? I want that. I want to be that. Okay, how about you get rid of your private jet and say, I take the train from now on, and show young men, say, if you want to be an elite billionaire, you take the train. That's not what they're doing. They're encouraging people to live these lives. They're telling you what they really want is haves and haves not. So I'm not buying that one. Transition to clean energy. That's totally wrong. Nuclear energy is clean energy, and Republicans are for it. Spare me. Have a nice day. Next up, eliminating racial justice initiatives and preserving advantages for white Americans, even perverting the Justice Department Civil Rights Division to investigate and prosecute all state and local governments, institutions of higher education, corporations, and any other private employers with diversity, equity, and inclusion policies. You know what's really funny is that DEI is illegal. It's unquestionable. You cannot discriminate on the basis of race. Doesn't matter if you're black or white. An institution that says we do race quotas or we say this about white people or otherwise, that's illegal. The funny thing is how they frame this. They're painting it out to seem that it's actually the right that wants to eliminate racial justice initiatives. You see how they play this dirty game? They're breaking the law. The Trump side wants to investigate these crimes, and they're upset about it. Surprise, surprise. Gutting public education, wiping out Head Start and other support for low-income students, and withdrawing federal oversight of public schools. Yes, and? You've not explained why you think that's a bad thing. Okay, these are all good things. Agree to disagree. Next question. Slashing healthcare insurance, putting 18 million Americans at risk of losing coverage entirely, killing the drug price provisions in the Inflation Reduction Act and Affordable Care Act protections for pre-existing conditions. I'm not as familiar with this one. I can only tell you this. The general view of people on the right is market competition allowing prices to be reduced. Donald Trump famously allowed for the importing of, say, insulin and I think EpiPens, was that what it was, from other countries, and this dropped the prices dramatically. So that's Trump's track record on lowering costs. And it's also absurd, this idea that, like, Republicans, I don't believe that Democrats or Republicans can be reasonably accused of wanting people to spend more on healthcare. I do not agree with that. I think there are specific interests within the Democrat and Republican Party who are looking for raising prices with interests in pharmaceutical companies to make money. Generally speaking, though, among your voter base and your rank and file, Democrats have a pro-government view of how to lower prices. Republicans have a pro-market view of how to lower prices. There are bad Democrats who are investing in these big pharmaceuticals who want to see the prices go up. There are bad Republicans doing the same thing. But the proposals offered up by Republicans or Democrats at the top level usually are a mix of the two, and I don't give anyone any special credit. The Republicans think, hey, we're going to do a market solution. I got questions about how that will work in some areas. And the Democrats think we're going to do a government solution. I have the same exact problem with it. This one's not an easy one to actually navigate. But the idea that Republicans are just evil and like, we're going to make their health care cost more money. Oh, come on, dude. You've got deep state establishment Democrat and Republican forces who want to jack the prices up because their stocks would do better. And then you've got populists who want the prices to go down and view it in entirely different ways. Let's be real. Here we go. Shutting down access to safe abortions, contraception, and other reproductive health care, putting women's lives at risk. You know, if you were going to report the news, you'd say they want to ban abortion. That's all you need to say. Shutting down access to safe abortions, blah, 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 putting women's lives at risk. Come on. Republicans want to ban abortion. We know they want to ban abortion. Donald Trump's position is keep it to the state level. Let states decide for themselves. Deleting sexual orientation and gender identity from all federal rules, reinstating a transgender military ban, and limiting LGBTQ workplace discrimination protections. Completely agree. That one's actually the only one that got straightforward. That's actually, reinstating transgender military ban and limiting LGBTQ workplace discrimination protections. Here's my question about that. In the workplace, what is the limiting factor for discrimination? Honest question. Because if we say LGBTQ and Q is not defined and you can't discriminate against someone for being queer, which is not defined, then it could be literally anything. You could, like, a guy could show up with paint all over his face and you can say, you got to get the paint off your face. And he goes, no. And you go, look, you can't work here with paint on your face. You look like a clown. And if they're like, well, that's my gender identity and you can't tell me I can't do it. It's like, okay, we got a problem here. Okay. You have to have limiting factors on what your laws actually do. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the best one. Fire civil servants who stood up to Trump. Oh, boy. I'm so excited for this one, you guys. Agreed. Fire them all. Fire them all. And that, look how they made this the biggest one. They gave it its own section. No. It's not civil servants who stood up to Trump. It's all of them. It's all of the bureaucrats. It's Schedule F. Let's start seeing them all get fired because we've got too much bloat in government as it is. All right, here we go. From Axios, Biden seizes debate limelight for Project 2025 push. Why it matters. The Biden campaign wants to convince jaded voters that a second Trump presidency poses grave risks to the country. Biden officials see Project 2025, which calls for an unprecedented expansion of presidential power, as a useful blueprint for what Trump's return would bring. Long story short, this is the strategy they have for the debate tonight. They're telling Joe Biden to go after Donald Trump on Project 2025, and I hope he does. You morons. But I hope Donald Trump knows how to play this game, okay? I'm 38. I've worked in nonprofits. I have worked in public persuasion, marketing campaigns. And so I can only tell you insofar as my expertise, which is limited compared to the politicos who've got deeper experience, but our perspectives matter, right? Everyone with some kind of experience in these spaces, you want to weigh those opinions. In my view, the strategy for Donald Trump is to let Joe Biden make these overt, esoteric arguments that the average person doesn't know or care about. So when Joe Biden goes, Donald Trump over here has got a dictator plan, Project 2025, they're calling it. He's going to, start rounding people up and arresting people and say it all. And then when Donald Trump is given his chance to speak, he can just respond with, I have no idea what he is talking about. Look, I'm concerned about gas prices, okay? I'm concerned about rent. What I can tell you is that the agenda we're lining up is very, very simple for 2025. We want to lower your costs. We want to work with the private sector to figure out ways we can increase wages. We want you to pay less taxes, to take home more money. The more money you take home, the better our economy does. I don't know what weird conspiracy stuff Biden is talking about, okay? But let's just get cheaper gas prices. If this is the game. Many people are concerned Donald Trump is going to fall into that trap where he says, you're a convicted felon, and then Trump goes off the rails on deep-seated culture war debate issues that people don't understand. I hope he doesn't. And I hope he's got people around him saying, they call him the boss. Boss, I got to tell you, don't let Biden trick you into talking about things the average person doesn't know about. Because the average person right now is watching sports, okay? And so they want to know why when they my buddy's like, we're going to watch the fight on Saturday. Let's get pizza and wings and chips and beer and all that stuff. And then they go, whoa, this is $100, $200. Why is it so expensive? That's the issue that matters for regular people. Now, look, if Trump goes up on stage and he says, Project 2025, oh, yeah, well, here's what we're going to do. Project 2025, blah, blah, blah. Trump supporters already know this stuff. He's not winning over Trump supporters. And Democrats who are listening to Joe Biden's claims about Project 2025 aren't going to be swayed because they're like, Trump is Hitler. What's the key strategy here? Trump's goal for this debate is to go after middle-of-the-road people who don't pay attention, in which case, I hope Biden takes this approach. Because Trump can just be like, that's weird. I don't know. We're going to lower your gas prices. I have to tell you, and Trump can say this too. There's no Project 2025 in my administration. None of my people have put any of this stuff. He's talking about weird conspiracy theories. My plan is to increase your wages, lower your taxes, get cheaper gas through better American energy policy, and make sure you can live more comfortably, that you've got more money to spend, that you can take that dream vacation, that you can pay your healthcare costs, that you can afford rent. For those young Americans, we're going to figure out how we can get you to buy your own home, your own place to live, your own backyard, your American dream. I don't know what he's talking about. I hope that's the approach he takes. But so we'll take a pause here for a moment, my friends. I'll grab some of your super chats. Let's see let's see what's up, ladies and gentlemen, and then we'll read more. I got a bunch more stuff to go through for you, but I think leaning towards doing an extended live stream this morning because we're going to need to do we need to set up our multi-streaming system, which probably isn't that difficult, but we might need time in case there's errors and stuff. So this extended morning show will allow me to get in a couple hours of content and talk about the news for everybody and get the work done, but open up time. Normally what I do is I break up the recordings throughout the day. till around like 1 or 2 usually. So that way it's closer to breaking news. Because if there's breaking news today, we're not going to have it. But tonight on Timcast IRL at 8 p.m., the first hour is, of course, going to be our standard news program where Alex Stein will be joining us and we'll be talking about regular news. And then at 9, the debate kicks on and we will be providing commentary and coverage of this. I will mention there's many lawyers are speaking about the issue pertaining to CNN. And it is interesting because we're in an unprecedented situation here with CNN. I'm gonna cover this one next. I don't know if I have anything pulled up on the CNN debate stuff, but let me see if I can find something. And here we go. Yeah, we'll talk about this one next. In the meantime, I'll take some of your super chats, and then let's roll. Aquafan says these fact checkers need to understand that Trump isn't lying. He just always speaks in hyperbole and describes things in superlatives. Biggest, best, worst, etc., even if they're just good or bad. Well, it's not just that. There's a really, really great clip of Tucker Carlson in Australia, and a reporter's like, you talked about great replacement theory and that white people are being replaced in Australia, in America. And he's like, I never said that. It's like, yes, you did. And he's like, no, I literally never said that. He's like, well, you're lying. And he's like, I don't believe. This is the funny thing. Tucker goes, I don't even believe that. He's like, the concerns of black Americans, some of these people have been here for 400, their families have been here for 400 years. Their concerns are equally as valid as any white Americans or otherwise. And then she's like, you're lying. And this is the funny thing about these really, really low IQ people. For what purpose would Tucker Carlson be getting up on stage in front of this large audience and then lie about his positions on race? Like, I don't understand it. He's publicly speaking right now. Do you think, like, they think that he's secretly racist, but doesn't want anyone to know because then behind the scenes he can convert people? It's insane. Tucker is saying literally what he thinks. So Donald Trump, he speaks the way he speaks. We get it. And it is true. It's hyperbole often. One of my favorite Trump lines is at least that's what I've been told. He doesn't say that all the time, but it is funny. All right. Gonfall says, I hope Biden does the poop squat during the debates. I hope he doesn't. But that was the other joke we made, is that Donald Trump should be like, oh, what's that smell? Wait, Joe, is that you? Like, how do you respond to things like that? When Trump says Sleepy Joe and things like that, they're difficult to respond to. He's branding you. He's a master of it. If Trump is talking and then imagine he's like, look, we're going to have great immigration policy and it's going to be, oh my God, Joe, is that you? Oh my God. Oh, someone help him. What are they going to say? Are the moderators going to be like, Jake Tapper's going to be like, well, I don't smell anything. And Trump's going to be like, you can't smell that? Oh my. What are they going to do? How do you handle that? That's a WWE moment. There's no way out of that. Trump won't do that. It would just be awesome if he did. Jose Garcia says, fire season started early in California. We have one major fire raging as we speak. Oof. Sad to hear it. Fires happen, though. All right. Amtrue13 says, thank you, Tim. I work overnights 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. and hardly get to see you live. Awesome. Thank you for calling that guy a retard last night. I couldn't help it. I feel bad. My apologies. But, holy crap. I recommend you guys watch last night's members only show on Timcast IRL. Cassandra is a really good friend of mine, Cassandra McDonald, and she handles our booking. She is a deep critic of Israel, and I absolutely respect that. I think more people should be paying attention to Israel and criticizing them. My issue, however, is with people who irrationally hyper-focus on Israel and don't make any don't have any understanding of any other foreign conflict or foreign spending. And so it was funny because after the show, I was talking to Cassandra about it, and at first, I was like, hey, the show was actually really good. I thought it was fantastic. And I do think Arthur, while I believe he was the guest last night, very, very obsessed with Israel. And guys, look, you may be rolling your eyes going, oh, here Tim goes. He doesn't want to hear it. No. Someone called in on the members only show asking about the fentanyl crisis in West Virginia. And his answer was that Israelis were creating spyware. And the caller said, stop. Caller interrupted and is like, I do not want to hear about that. I want to know about the opioid crisis where I live. And so, at first, Cassandra's like, look, there's a lot of real criticisms for Israel. And I'm like, I agree, absolutely, 100%. And then she watched the members only show and she was like, holy crap. Like, someone calls in and they're like, I have concerns about the arrest of Bannon. And dude was like, well, you see, Israel was, and it's like, whoa. It was funny because we started the members only show talking about dating. We were talking about women getting attacked in New York. Very horrifying video. And the voting patterns of women. And then at some point, all of a sudden, we're talking about Israel. And I'm just like, this is what I can't stand. I want you to criticize Israel, please. I want you to criticize AIPAC. But if I bring up an issue like a woman was beaten in New York, and 5 seconds later you're talking about Israel, you are insane. Like, you've got deep-seated Israel derangement syndrome. Dude. But I do recommend you guys watch if you want to see me snap. He insulted me. He called me an ignoramus. I insulted him back. It was a wild show, but that's the members only show. So head over to timcast.com, click join us, become a member. I had a lot of fun with it. Look, to be completely honest, I think Arthur Bloom is very knowledgeable about some key issues, and I appreciate him coming on the show. I thought it turned out to be a really good show. When things get heated and we have those debates, they're actually great shows, and so I can respect that. I got no beef. People are allowed to believe what they want. He called me unread and ignorant and an ignoramus, and then finally I just called him an effing retard. Because I'm like, dude, if you're going to insult me over and over again and try and pull this academic thing, I'm gonna retort, okay? And we'll play that game. But his argument was Steve Bannon deserves to go to jail because of something pertaining to Republicans not pursuing Israel in 2020. And I was like, huh? And he's like, well, you just haven't read this, so you don't know. And I'm like, dude, my guy, we're talking about an issue right now pertaining to contempt of Congress, completely unrelated to Israel. And so, And then he was like, yeah, you haven't done the reading. And I'm like, okay, dude. But anyway, we'll grab more of your super chats and then we'll jump into the CNN issue. All right, let's go. Let's see. Satellifing Tramp says Trump's catchphrase for the debate needs to be Google it. Every time he hit Biden or CNN with, play to the camera and audience at home. Google it. That is a good one. All right. Here's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to try and segment out the recording here. Streamlabs might actually shut the stream down if I press record. I'm going to press it anyway. If it does get shut down, then follow me on X and Instagram, and we'll have more segments. But hopefully it doesn't. So, all right, it looks like it did. There was a default setting I think before where if you ended the recording, it would end both the stream and the recording at the same time. But I'm actually going to record it at different points. Oblivion says, "Why the live?" in the chat. Because we are going to be setting up our multi-streaming today, I want to clear as much time for potential errors and bugs. So, and all the news right now is like CNN debate. What's going on? So I figure we'll do a live morning show for a couple hours. It'll be fun. I've got a few segments pre-planned already that we can talk about. I'll record those. I'll upload them like normal segments, but then we'll have this extended morning live show for those that want to watch that. And this allows me to wrap up earlier than I normally would so that our crew can get in here and begin to prepare for the multi-streaming system we're going to use for tonight during the debate. And it's fun. I don't know. I actually much prefer to do the live shows in the morning. The main reason I don't, if I wrap up early in the morning, we don't get the breaking news midday. And it's just like, yeah. It also negatively impacts the channel algorithmically. Unfortunately, it's just a reality. But that's what we'll do today. I'll read some more super chats and then we'll jump into the next segment on CNN censorship and things like that. All right. Nick C says, we love Timcast. There are 131 days until November 5th. Have you started getting in shape and healthy? Please join us over at X at Fitcast and let's make a stronger and healthier USA. My friends, as you know, I am a man of many hobbies and talents, and I play Magic the Gathering. I've got, I should put up some Magic the Gathering videos. We should put up some videos on Instagram. I've got skateboarding clips on Instagram. So bummed, man. Dude, yesterday was a battle. I did a few runs. They're lines, whatever. They both mean the same thing. Basically, it's a series of tricks filmed back to back, and you film it. And I got a couple. I did one where I popped over the hip, a little, very tiny frontside air on the quarter pipe. I did a nollie frontside big spin, a nollie hard flip. And it's like, I didn't really post it. I didn't care. But I filmed one with Richie Jackson where I did a fakie 540 big spin. I think it's a pretty good trick. I could do better than that, but it's in a run. And then I did a Smith grind and then a Sal plant. Those are all tricks. Don't worry about it. But I did one where it was a Nollie Gazelle, which is a fairly advanced flat ground trick. The board spins 540 degrees. The body spins 360. And then I was going for a frontside nose grind, frontside 360 shove it, which is very, very advanced. And I got it and then fell. And I was like, dude, I was wiped out. 2-hour battle. Actually, that one was like a 45-minute battle. And I almost did it second try, and then I couldn't get it, so it's a bummer. But I bring this up because, G Prime 85 has this great comic right now. It's a guy on a plane looking at a dude playing video games like another grown man playing video games. I'm a man, so I don't play video games. That's why I'm going to raw dog this flight. And it's a picture of him taking a selfie of him raw dogging the flight. And I'm like, that's good. My favorite is the fat layabouts who are like, Tim, you should grow up and stop skateboarding. And I'm like, dude, I burned 2,000 calories in that session last night, and my whole shirt was drenched, and you could strain it out. There are people who are like, wow, Tim's almost 40 and he's getting better at skateboarding. The reality is I'm not as good as I used to be, but I'm pushing as hard as I can. Dude, I don't care what exercise you do. I don't care if you play pickleball. I don't care if you pogo stick. Get exercise. The idea that there are people online being like, you're a grown man, you should not be exercising this way. Shut up, dude. I'm going to do whatever I can to get that cardio in, to get that anaerobic exercise in. And if that's what we do, that's what we do. Now, I bring up Magic the Gathering because I hate to say it. Guys, I love you, okay? There's a lot of great people who play Magic. A lot of them are based. Don't get me wrong, the company's gone pretty woke, and that's a bad thing. But I went and hung out at a comic shop, card shop. Everybody's morbidly obese. And I don't mean just fat. I mean literally morbidly obese. And it's, okay, for those that don't know what Magic the Gathering is, it is chess and poker combined. Easiest way to explain it. So as someone who loves chess, I love chess, and also poker, absolutely love poker, Magic the Gathering is a natural fit to, what I enjoy. When I was a little kid, I started playing Magic the Gathering when the Antiquities set came out. This is 1994, I believe. And I had a bunch of cards, had no idea how the game worked. The game was in its infancy. Let me just say this, that Black Lotus cost $350 when I started playing Magic. Wish I bought one back then, because now they go for $150,000. And a mint condition one sold for $3 million at auction. But anyway, I've been playing that for a long time. When I was little, I played chess. And with my friends, we would play 5-card draw poker as just kids. It's poker cards. You play Crazy Eights, you play Steel Pack, whatever. And so I've played Magic the Gathering my whole life. It is sad for me to see. When I was a teenager playing Magic at the comic shop, me and my friends were skateboarding. We would all meet up at the comic shop. We would all play Magic, Pokemon, and Dragon Ball Z. Yep, we'd have decks for each. We would then play Marvel vs. Capcom on the arcade against each other. We would watch episodes of Dragon Ball Z. I'm like 12 or 13, by the way. And then once we got tired of it at like 1 p.m., because the comic shop opened at 9, we'd go skateboard to the local school, which had a curb with angle iron on it, and we'd skate. We'd all skate. And so it's like we were all getting physical exercise and mental exercise in the same day. And now it's like, it's sad for me to see so many people who are completely out of shape. Guys, you got to get in shape. It'll increase it decreases depression. It makes you feel better. It makes you feel better. It makes you feel like energy is surging through you. And I hope people find whatever way to get fit they can. I recommend MyFitnessPal for tracking your macros. Matt Walsh and Jeremy Boring were ragging on people for talking about how it's not as easy to lose weight. Just counting calories doesn't work. The general idea from Matt and Jeremy is correct. Calories in, calories out. But guys, you got to understand, so there's a couple different strategies. I'm not a health expert. This is not health advice. I'll just tell you my opinion and how I see it. When I was doing keto, my energy levels were through the roof. Almost no carbs, very high fat, wild. I lost so much weight so quickly. It was nuts. And you can see it. We took that photo that we used for all the promo shots of me like this, and I weighed 168. That was high protein, high fat, super low carb. It was crazy. I was skating for hours. It's just drenched, unending. It was wild. I switched up my diet to a standard, more basic macro approach. And I got to admit, energy is more difficult to moderate. But it's important to understand that when you're in I think it's called glucogenic, when you're relying on carbs and glucose for your energy, you have to maintain those carbs periodically throughout the day, where with keto you don't. And if you are imbalanced, if you are doing a low level of carbs and high protein and high fat, you will gain weight. This is just my this is what happens. This is my view. I could be wrong. I'm not a health expert. What happens is, when you're relying on carbs for energy and you're not getting enough, your body is just tired. And so if you're eating, so I was eating like 1,400 calories per day, but I was too tired to actually burn any of the calories I was eating. So what I switched, because this is when I basically got off keto. So I switched to higher carb. I think now I'm doing around 230 carbs per day. I'm doing 160 or 170 proteins and like 60 fat. Now I have a mochi oatmeal pancake for breakfast, a single one with butter and jam, and a protein shake. About a half an hour before I skate, I will have a light snack like peanut butter, and I do mochi because I was having inflammation issues with gluten. This gives you energy right before you exercise and moderates energy levels. Now it's like, I feel like I got the energy. So I'm not going to do a big health rant. We'll get back into the news, but I just really, really want to encourage people to get in shape, just because you're gonna feel so much better. But let's get back to the news, because otherwise I'll just rant on health stuff. All right, where are we at? Let's see. Oh, someone's telling me to play artifacts. What is this? Lulu says, what's too funny when it comes to DEI is that the UFC embodies it in the literal, not establishment sense, and the Democrats want nothing to do with it. The UFC embodies, oh, right, absolutely. and I really do think that DEI is an attempt to destroy actual diversity and unity by creating discriminatory policies. When I grew up skateboarding, we have friends of all different backgrounds. You show up to a skate park and there's a black dude, a Mexican dude, an Asian dude, a white dude skating. Nobody cares about race. We just want to see the tricks. We want to see the feats. We want to see the, and that's all that mattered. Didn't matter who you were. Didn't matter where you came from. Didn't matter if you could speak English. Now they're like, we want to put everybody in boxes. That's going to make everything worse off. Here we go. Charles G says, do you think Trump supporters can sue New York class action for deprivation of rights? Yes. But you can sue a ham sandwich. It doesn't mean you're going to win. However, I do think that New York should be sued into oblivion over their targeting of Donald Trump. 467 says, hey, from OC, what are some good counter questions and points for a candidate having abortion as a priority? Derek Tran blocked me on Insta for questioning motive. This is a tough one because it's ideologically entrenched. Democrats don't care. Like, they want abortion. My argument for my friend who is a normie, he's not really a political guy, but he leans liberal just because that's what the media does. I said, he was like, look, I don't like that Republicans want to ban abortion. And I was like, I hear you. And I was like, I do agree. That's like extreme. My only question for you then is, why support the party that wants to make it legal to abort at 9 months? And he was like, that's not true. And I said, look, I'm not a pro-lifer, right? I don't think we should outright ban abortion, but I certainly don't think we should have abortion at 9 months. And they're like, no, that's not happening. And I'm like, okay, look, dude, I'm not against you. Like, I agree with you. I don't. And then I grabbed my phone, I pulled it up, and I said, just read it. I don't know. I showed the congressional bill. It was like section C, subsection 13 or whatever, where it was like at any point. And they were like, what? That can't be true. And so the challenge with deeply ideologically entrenched people is that they're going to, if you're an enemy of them, if you come at them and say abortion should be banned, they're like, nothing you say is true. You're a liar. Everything you say is a lie. You approach someone as a friend, and they're more likely to listen to what you have to say. Now, in this instance, it literally was my friend, and we literally did trust each other. And so I was just like, bro, trust me. Like, I'm not making this up. Like, let me show you the bill. So the strategy is wanting someone who is pro-abortion to ban abortion will never happen. Sorry. Have a nice day. But a regular person will likely agree with you that abortion after a certain amount of time should be banned, not allowed. Democrats lie to get these laws in place. And that is the challenge you have to overcome. So the best approach at reducing abortions, for me, I'm not a staunch pro-lifer. I think abortion is wrong. I think abortion should be unthinkable. So there's a philosophical essence of pro-life, but legally speaking, I'm more in the Ron Paul camp of it shouldn't be illegal, it should be unthinkable. That means we have to navigate this carefully and culturally, and it should be socially unacceptable to scream that you got an abortion. It should be a point of shame and regret. That being said, in the instances where there's a medically required intervention, and Seamus makes a good point on this one. Let's do this. For the sake of liberals, they don't quite understand I shouldn't say understand. They don't have the same language on this one. Their view of abortion is a medically necessary procedure to save the life of the mother. Well, Seamus said, no, that's not an abortion. Seamus Coughlin says, abortion is the intentional killing of the baby to end the pregnancy. And he's actually right. That's the legal definition. I argued with him. I was wrong. We ended up looking it up and I was like, oh, you were correct. So the better way to understand it is, in the instance where a mother's life is at risk, the baby may be inviolable. Let's just say that is not what we are trying to get rid of. Those are circumstances where if an intervention to save the life of the mother results in the death of the baby, it's a tragedy. It's a tragedy. If a woman undergoes something like that, she deserves comfort and sympathy. Abortion, however, specifically defined as deciding to end a pregnancy for a non-medical reason, should be shunned and shamed. That is my view. I believe the cultural element is more important than the legal element, because whether it's legal or not doesn't change whether people will do it. Whether it's culturally enforced or not will change whether people do it or not. Democrats are culturally entrenched. They want abortion. They joke about it. They laugh about wanting to kill babies. You're not going to win that argument with them. But for the normies and your friends, you just talk to them plainly and just say, do you think that, for any reason or no reason at all, a woman should be able to end the pregnancy, like at any point? They're going to tell you no. And you say, okay, we completely agree. We completely agree on that one. Let's take a look at how we can make sure that's the case. And that's it. That's your best bet. I got to admit, abortion is the hardest issue, the most difficult issue. All right, let's go. Fix Bayonet says Biden still wants to be a wartime president. Keep an eye on Ukraine. North Korea says they are sending troops to fight for Russia. Oh, yep. Yeah, Biden says he wants to deploy PMCs, right? Boosted Yogi says, Tim, calm down. You haven't done the reading. Yeah, it's a reference to last night's episode where I was accused of not doing the reading on a subject I wasn't talking about. Yeah. Omega Rosetsu says he was an ignoramus the entire show. We ended up actually getting a very large viewership on last night's show because when Arthur played the heel, I guess I'm kidding, I don't know if he was, he argued that Merrick Garland should not go to jail for contempt of Congress because he's the AG, and Steve Bannon should because Steve Bannon's a shady guy. And I'm like, what? If Bannon committed contempt of Congress and he's going to jail for it, then Merrick Garland's the same thing. We have to have equality under the law. And he's like, nah. This resulted in tons of people blasting the show out and posting clips and complaining, and then we ended up getting a big viewership because of it. So, all right. Hellglazer says, what's your EDH deck? I play Orzhov Aristocrats. Ah, Orzhov. That's good fun. I have a bunch of EDH decks. So I've got my favorite commander deck is Narset. It's just Narset Chaos. So the point of the deck, for those that don't know Magic, sorry, it's a bit esoteric, is to get out as many massive global effect cards as possible that make the game unplayable, and it's hilarious. Like Grip of Chaos, Possibility Storm, Eye of the Storm, and it's just total bedlam. Just like cards don't do what they're supposed to do anymore. Possibility Storm and Grip of Chaos is just the best. I think it's Grip of Chaos. All targets are random, and Possibility Storm is whenever you play a spell, cycle through your deck until you find a different, the same type of spell and switch and you switch it. So basically, no one has any idea what they're actually going to do. And even if they do something, the targets are random. It is good fun. It's good fun. In terms of like playing to win, I just built a Nadu deck because that's the thing you're supposed to do right now with Modern Horizons 3. And it's the stupidest commander ever. It's the most boring commander ever. Yeah. All right. Adam says, I usually watch IRL in the morning, but I couldn't get past the 25-minute mark on last night's show. Sorry, bro. Hey, no problem. You really got to watch the members only though. But actually we had a higher than average watch time and a slightly above average live viewership people like the heated debates. But I guess people really liked that I was fired up and deeply articulating my thoughts on equality of the law and the constitutional factors at play and things like that. SJ2 says Tim would be a Narset player. Indeed, because she's an Asian lady. Yeah, but I use Enlightened Master. Nobody really uses Narset Enlightened Master. It's a deck I built a long time ago. And what my favorite is Kaikar is my favorite. It's not the most powerful, but it's just a lot of fun. It's a deck that I built around generating spirits and, sacrificing to make mana and stuff like that. It's a fun deck. I love those decks. Nadu is so stupid and boring, but it's like the most powerful now. Everyone's playing it. We're going to have to see the meta evolve so that people can play against it. All right. Nate Slocum says down 40 pounds as of this morning from 345 since switching to the carnivore diet a month and a half ago. Bro, bravo. Make sure you're taking vitamins. Make sure you're talking to a health professional to make sure that the weight loss is sustainable. Because you lost 40 pounds in a month. That's massive. You might just make sure you're talking to your doctor, and that is based AF. Getting healthy, dude. I tell people, if you are overweight, you're trying to figure it out, I guarantee you go to a gym, you walk up to a dude who's working out, who's fit, and you say to him like, my friend, I want to be you. Make me fit. That dude's going to be like, brother, and he's going to fist bump you. Like, it is the greatest feeling in the world for a guy to be told your work is valuable. I respect it, and I am envious of the success you have had, like whatever it may be. This is why guys buy fancy cars and nice suits. They want people to recognize their hard work has paid off. Like, this is what guys do. So for like a dude at a skate park, so I say that assuming this is how guys tend to be. You could run into a dick. Like, there's mean people out there. But if you go to a skate park and you're overweight and out of shape and you don't know what to do, and skating is your choice of physical activity, you walk to, there's a couple guys and they're hanging out skating, and you walk up and say, guys, I never skated before, but I know it's going to make me feel better and help me lose weight. I need help. They're going to be like, my friend, welcome to skateboarding. We will tell you whatever you want. Come hang out with us. Like, dude, join the crew, man. It's the greatest feeling in the world. When you're like a teenager and a mom walks in and she goes, can you teach my 10-year-old how to skate? Everyone's like, yes, because you're basically being told you are good. It is like the best compliment ever. So I recommend you guys find community and join that crew. But the most powerful thing is, let me put it this way. There's this really great 4chan meme, a green text meme, where a guy is like, overweight, neat, wanting to change my life. I went to a gym and started trying to work out, when a guy walked over and started explaining to me how to do the weights. And then once we finished the workout, he says, tomorrow's leg day. I'll see you around, right? And he was like, yeah. He's like, I'm going to see you here because I'll show you how to do the leg workouts tomorrow if you show up. And the guy was like, yeah, definitely, I'll be here. And he was like, is this what it's like to be a knight for a king? My liege, like, this is what it feels like to be inspired by someone who's trying to help you be better. And it's like, yeah, dude, it's amazing. It feels good. And everyone loves to have community. You find those people who are engaged in that stuff. You join them, you will not regret it. All right, we'll grab one more, and then we'll read about CNN. All right, Drew Brenton says, Tim, is there a business email I can send a screenplay to for an anime I've been writing? Basic pitch, guy in superpowered world, born with no powers, becomes the best at mundane tasks. Chores, for example. Think my hero One Punch. We can't accept we can't accept that stuff. It's the way the law works. That's why like every single company forever has said we don't accept solicitations, because it opens up to legal liability. It's totally nuts. It has to go through agencies. Otherwise the company, because we wanted to do this before and we can't. Let's do this. We got this story. We got this story from, let's try that again. I normally don't do this live. All right. We have this story from CNN Business. CNN presidential debate marks a pivotal moment for the network as it hopes to reverse its fortunes. And this is why CNN is thrashing about and threatening everybody and saying that they're going to take you down if you provide fair use commentary and fact checking on the debate. Now, here's the funny thing. All of the major news networks are talking about how they're going to be live blogging and fact checking, how we have to fact check how important it is. And it's true. Now, to be fair, these big networks aren't saying they're going to rebroadcast, but Fox News is. Apparently, every major news network will be broadcasting the presidential debate. And I've had a bunch of conversations with big channels about what this means and why. And I'll tell you this. The general consensus among the legal advice many people have been receiving is that CNN knows they can't win in court. You cannot privatize a presidential debate. It's just, you can't do it. There's nothing more newsworthy. It is civic responsibility and engagement. CNN knows this, but they got it. They got the debate. You see, this is not the Commission on Presidential Debates, which is normally not going to file any claims against anybody. This is CNN as a company doing their own exclusive private event. But Fox News will be simulcasting it, as will many other outlets. And they've agreed to some stipulations just to be nice. And the reason is, so this is actually coming from a couple different big YouTubers. These guys all talk to their lawyers. CNN knows they cannot stop anyone from rebroadcasting, raw or otherwise. So they've made requests to these other networks, just do it this way. And then we avoid any kind of conflict. Here's the interesting thing. CNN is explicitly targeting YouTube. That's right. It would seem that the real battle here is not between CNN and Timcast or CNN and Breaking Points or anyone else. It's between CNN and YouTube. And I'll explain. Without calling anybody out specifically, the question of fair use arises. And CNN, YouTube sends out these messages to all these different big channels saying, contact CNN about their thoughts on restreaming with commentary. CNN's response numerous times to many different people was, you can use the debate with commentary on your websites. No YouTube. So let me break that down for you. CNN has basically told many people, you are allowed to take CNN's embeddable YouTube player, put it on your website, paywalled, add your commentary to the stream, so long as it can't be watched on YouTube. They don't have an issue with Timcast.com charging money for people to watch this. No issue. Their issue is that they don't want people to watch it on YouTube, which is very weird. Now, of course, they're going to be streaming it on their YouTube, on their YouTube channel. So I talked to YouTube about this, and I was just like, you realize what they're saying, right? They're saying it's you guys they have a copyright dispute with, not me. They've told me I can do it. They've told other people we can do it on our websites. Not you, though. That's fascinating. Now, the question of fair use comes up, and this is where things get interesting, and the question of CNN's panic comes up. CNN, a pivotal moment, and it's funny because they're writing for themselves, as it hopes to reverse its fortunes. CNN is telling us outright, they are collapsing, they are scared, and they don't know what to do. Check this out. It's a pivotal moment, not just for the country, as it picks a new president, but also for CNN with a new leader at the helm of the news network that has been beset by declining television viewership as it urgently embarks on a major newsroom overhaul to embrace its digital future. Thursday night's presidential debate, a marketing coup for CNN and its new chief executive, Mark Thompson, will offer the network a bright spot and expectations of record ratings, even if viewers end up watching the debate on other networks. You see? No matter where viewers tune in to watch the primetime matchup between Joe Biden and Trump, it will be clear that this is a CNN debate. As a public service, CNN has allowed other networks to air the event so long as they agree to the network's rules over how the event is promoted and rebroadcast. Rival networks, for example, have agreed to use CNN in the programming title and keep the red CNN logo on screen throughout the debate. For CNN, the branding boost from the debate may provide a much-needed shot in the arm. Over the last year, CNN's television viewership has fallen regularly, settling into third place by MSNBC and right-wing talk channel. You see what they do here? Jeez, Fox News. The majority of Fox News is straightforward news, and it's boring. Shout out to Brett Baer. Last week, CNN total viewership averaged fewer than 500,000 in primetime and 80,000 in the advertiser-coveted key demo. Holy crap. Yo. Guys, let me pop over real quick to like my first segment from yesterday's morning show. 188,000 with 150 in the key demo. My 1 p.m. was 200,000, and that's about 150 or more in the key demo. 80+% of the viewership for this channel is key demographic, 25 to 54. I think the average age is like 33. We've got, what do we have here? Yesterday mornings was 350,000 with about 300,000 in the key demo. Absolutely wild. Absolutely wild. They are a dead brand. They are a dead brand, and they know it. The declining viewership trend is not unique to CNN, but it has notably taken hold during breaking news events, once seen as the network's bread and butter, when general audiences turned to cable news en masse to watch unfolding coverage. CNN is also looking to move past previous missteps last year under Chris Licht, blah, 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 blah. The network hosted a live town hall with Trump in which former president unloaded a host of lies and insulted moderator Caitlin Collins as the audience applauded. Applauded and cheered. Licht was later fired after a brief but tumultuous tenure. Thursday's debate offers Thompson and the network executives the chance to reset the reputation of a network that has long defined itself as the most trusted name in news. Thursday's debate will pose a high-stakes test for Thompson and the network's executives as they go it alone without the independent commission on presidential debates, making key decisions about how the politically charged showdown will appear for millions expected to tune in. Look, they've undermined themselves entirely. They say outright in the article on CNN's website, they will, let me find, no matter where viewers tune in to watch the debate, it will be clear to CNN debate. They say, even if other viewers end up watching it on other networks, CNN has allowed other networks to air the event so long as they agree to the network's rules over how the event is promoted and rebroadcast. They are outright saying they expect this to be watched everywhere. This is CNN writing that regardless of where it's watched, they're satisfied. They cannot privatize a presidential debate. The debate will include some shifts in tradition, including 2 commercial breaks during the 90-minute event. A first, since the Commission of Presidential Debates took over the process more than 35 years ago, other networks are free to sell their own advertising but cannot put up their own commentators or anchors during the breaks. There will be no live audience, blah, blah, blah. It's also the earliest a general election debate has ever been held, coming weeks. That's by design, blah, blah, blah. Let's talk about this, my friends. A new format and few fact checks. They're not going to fact check. They say, here we go. Let's read this. While CNN and ABC are hosting debates this election season, so ABC is the next one, Varenkov said he believes 2024 debates are merely a hiccup in the commission's long history, and they'll be back to sponsoring the debates for the next campaign. There are other ways to do things, and we'll look into it. But with the candidates moving to circumvent the commission and its rules, some critics have suggested it could eventually result in highly partisan actors hosting debates in the future. But Schroeder said he doesn't believe that Thursday's event will lead to that possibility, since each campaign still must sign off on the terms of any debate. For now, he said, there are still enough mainstream news organizations. Not for long with these ratings. It must be said, there is an obligation for me, Steven Crowder, Benny Johnson, Breaking Points, David Pakman, you name it, Kyle Kulinski. We are obligated. We are obligated as political personalities with our views under our civic responsibilities and to our audiences to fact check, to criticize, to comment on the presidential debate. It can only be done live. That's it. There's no reality where we can effectively provide understanding of this as it is a live event. If CNN tries to assert exclusive rights over a presidential debate, this is the end of civic engagement. It cannot be allowed. It will not be allowed. CNN's going to try and make their political moves. I reject it. Now, there are some arguments. Fair use. First, questions pertaining to fair use, typically it's fair use if it's educational, and there's other arguments. However, all that really matters is that this gets weighed and it's interpretable. One of the arguments that I'm seeing on the other side of this in favor of CNN, and I respect these arguments, but they don't outweigh the importance. There's 2. If CNN, infringement upon CNN's market is the principal argument. That's it. There's 2 components of it. CNN, and like Fox News with their presidential debate, need to be able to monetize this to do the debate. if they can't make money off it, they can't host these debates. It's very expensive. Well, that's unfortunate. It is. But the reality is it's still the president and the former president in a historical debate, and we must tell the public real time what's happening. The other argument is that we use all of our commentary uses a substantial portion of their event, the entirety of it. And that is a heavy weight in fair use. That being said, it is not, and this is why it is fair use. First, it is not a replacement for the debate. When we hosted our commentary show on the presidential primary debates for the Republicans, there are periods where we mute the candidates. Tonight, as Joe Biden and Trump are speaking, there will be periods where we will mute them. Why? Not to shut down what they're saying, to comment on what they've said. It's the only possible way to do it. We will be talking over them. If you are looking for the raw debate to watch them without commentary, you're going to watch that on CNN, Fox, ABC, or whoever else is rebroadcasting. If you're watching us, you will not get that. You won't. You're going to get periods where we are laughing, insulting them, and you won't be able to hear what they're saying. Sorry, that's reality. That's what a commentary show is. Here's the other important factors for fair use. I do not believe you should be allowed to privatize presidential debates. Same argument for Twitter banning people. You should not be allowed to take the principal pathway by which a president is going to be arguing, communicating, debating ideas, and then shut people out from that process. When Twitter bans people, there's two components. When Trump or AOC blocks people on X so they can no longer engage with their posts, I believe that is wrong. I believe that you should be allowed to respond to their posts. Sorry, you're a politician. That makes sense. You are creating a space where you're speaking. However, when this suit was ruled, and I believe it was the Supreme Court said you can't block people if you're a politician, this created a conundrum. If Donald Trump blocks you, and they sued him over it, he blocked people, and they said you can't block him because you're a public figure and you've created a forum by which people are communicating and they have a right to communicate, free speech. The problem then is the private intervention of Twitter. At the time, Twitter, now X. If the reality is we need people to have access to Trump's Twitter to engage in communication at this large scale, Twitter should not be able to block people because they're blocking them from civic engagement. The argument should then be you can be blocked from everything but politicians, if that's the case. So let's take a look now at CNN. They want to privatize a presidential debate and make sure only they have control over who gets to watch and comment on it. No, you do not get to strip people out from engaging with a presidential debate. Now, it's an interesting reality here. This is new. This didn't exist before the internet. The question didn't need to be asked. Anybody who was going to broadcast a presidential debate would just do so, and there was only 3 or 4 channels, so it didn't really mean much. Many channels who didn't do politics and were doing entertainment knew their ratings would be in the gutter. But that's just the way it is. Add to the fact, it's unquestionably fair use to pull segments and air them on your news program and on your shows. Now we're in the era where it's not 3 channels, it's 50 million. It's more. Anyone can have a channel, any platform. Anyone can easily rebroadcast. Now, I agree. I'd give CNN this much. If someone were to launch a YouTube channel that just rebroadcast raw the CNN debate, take them down. Now, that is directly competing, not transformative, not educational. That's not fair use. However, for those of us that will be fact-checking and commenting on and criticizing CNN, mind you, and their moderators, and that's a huge component of this, fair use, no question. There's 2 things to consider outside of the whole debate. This is not just about me saying Trump was wrong there or Biden was wrong there. It's about me saying Jake Tapper is manipulating this. They're silencing Trump or they're helping by whatever it may be. The right to criticize CNN in real time. And why real time? Because this is the pivotal moment. Tonight is history and we will not be shut out. Now, I've been told it's entirely possible that CNN will make moves to shut down any live stream during the debate that's on YouTube. They've told people, feel free to live stream on your own website and even charge money for it. That don't fly. But we will be multi-streaming on X, Rumble, and YouTube. And that's how it's going to get done. And if YouTube takes us down, I tell you what this means. If we receive a copyright strike while we are live broadcasting, that means Timcast IRL will be shut down for 7 days. Fortunately, that includes Saturday and Sunday. And that means that Thursday to Thursday, there will be, so no show Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But guess what? Thursday and Friday, it's 4th of July weekend. We're off. We're not working. And this one's interesting. You know, look, I hate taking vacations. I really do. I don't like not working, but you cannot work holidays. It's dude, trying to do news shows on holidays is the most taxing and difficult thing in media and content creation. There are much harder jobs than what I'm doing right now. What I mean is, you know, usually you wake up, everybody's working, there's stories, there's debate, but on holidays, nobody's working. So the stories are all like, man goes on vacation with wife and surprises her. And you're like, that's okay, I guess. It's just not news. And then everyone's outside celebrating. They're not even watching. So they're not going to watch what you make. There's no big stories to cover. And more importantly, we should take the time off and celebrate the 4th of July. So we're taking the 4th and the 5th off, and then we're back on Monday. So I've had conversations with some other big channels, and they said, if we get taken down for a week, we are screwed. A quarter of our monthly revenue gone. And I'm like, yeah. That is worrisome. I don't know what to tell you. We're gonna do it. And I suppose, and I hope YouTube knows this, we are, Cyclone says, Tim's scheming a long break. We're already planning our 4th of July weekend. I'm going to go see family and climb some mountains or something. But I'm like, what's my worst case scenario? They take the shut on for a week. Extended vacation, I guess, you know. But here's the reality. And I hope YouTube knows this. I told them, if this is the way you guys play this game, we're going to multi-broadcast on X and Rumble. And if the reaction is, and because we have to. And I told them, like, look, we try not to do this because a large portion of our viewership is YouTube TV. They don't subscribe. So I'll tell you this. Timcast IRL has 1.75 or whatever million subscribers. But our live viewership and our per episode viewership is 20+%, which is double the average of YouTube, and it crushes a bunch of other big YouTube channels. Why? A large portion of our viewership watch on TV. We've done these surveys. They sit down on their couch, they open the YouTube app, and they press Timcast IRL Live, and they're hanging out with their friends, their roommates. They play the show at work, and it's like 10-1. So we don't actually know the full ratings the way they used to do on TV because we're a weird hybrid mix. I suppose this arose due to the show launching during COVID, and people built a routine around us being their TV program and not a podcast. We're a live primetime show, more similar to Tucker Carlson than we are to Joe Rogan. And so that affects our ratings. If, however, because of this move, we are forced to multi-stream and it results in a massive explosion of ratings and viewership, that's the new norm. That's the new norm. We were trying to keep our clips spread out on Rumble and YouTube, but now we have no choice but to multi-stream. And if we see a massive net positive from this action, well, it's too bad, YouTube. You did it to yourselves. YouTube got to enjoy for a long time the exclusive on Timcast IRL because it was just easy for our viewers and easy for us, and we don't want to risk anything. But now they put the risk in our laps, and I say, here we go. My expectation is that we're going to get quadruple the viewership by doing this. The YouTube audience will continue to watch on TV as they normally do. Our followers who refuse to watch YouTube and are only on Rumble will do so. And I have 2 million followers on X who will begin to watch the show, and our ratings are going to jump. Our sponsorship rates are going to jump, and so be it. Because I don't know for sure, we've been reluctant to make any drastic moves, which could negatively impact our revenue stream. And, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's the challenge for us. Make a big move, take a risk, or don't once the cat's out of the bag. Well, YouTube forced our hand, so that will be the case. Tonight, we will be live 8 p.m. for the normal show with our good friend Alex Stein, and we'll be having a good laugh. We're going to have a watch party with the crew. We're going to have pizza wings and such. We're going to skateboard and play Magic the Gathering. I'm not kidding. We literally are. And then we will be live for the show to comment on the debate. And in the event YouTube takes us down, you can follow me on X at Timcast, where it will be pinned at the top. And we'll also be at rumble.com/TimcastIRL, live streaming as well. All right, everybody, I'm going to wrap up this segment. For those that are watching live, the show goes on, but we'll wrap up this segment for now. So again, become a member at timcast.com. This one's important. I always try to just say like, hey, become a member and watch the uncensored show. But I'm going to give you a deeper pitch today. I'm going to give you the deeper pitch. This is timcast.com. We are weird, independent, atypical political figures. We are a hodgepodge crew here at Timcast. We want to know what's true. We want to find the best solutions to help this country and make everyone's life better. If you watch the show and you like what you see, go to timcast.com, click join us, become a member, because that is how this company functions. We do have sponsorships, but the bulk of what makes this company operate is you as a member deciding to sign up and say, this is important and I want to help it continue. It's up to you. And I always tell people, and this is a sales pitch no-no, but I think it requires honor and integrity. If you can't do it, don't do it. Take care of yourself, your friends, and your family, because our ultimate goal is to win a culture war and make sure you all succeed. But if you like the work we do and you want to see more of it, if you think our experimenting and creating culture is worth it, some of you don't, but if you think it is, become a member at timcast.com and you will get access to our Discord server, our uncensored member call-in shows, and to come, more benefits. Hopefully with our elite club, we already give privileges to those who are in our elite club, which is $100 a month or more. We're going to be setting up a private club in Martinsburg, West Virginia, once we get the permits approved and you have a physical place to hang out. We hope to have thousands of locations in the next 10 years where people can hang out and share ideas. And this all relies on whether or not you actually think it's a good idea. If you do, if you like me, if you like the show, if you like the work we do, if you think we work hard and we deserve it, timcast.com, click join us, become a member. And we'll see you tonight at 8 p.m. for that debate. And now we'll read some more super chats. All right. Vic Rattlehead says, I don't always agree with you, and sometimes you piss me off, but I respect your integrity and authenticity. I stopped watching Daily Wire, Blaze TV, PBD, and popular anti-SJW channels because they don't have any from hiring Cuomo to firing Owens. They are just different face from the same coin. I really do appreciate that, man. I mean, I really do. You know, it's people attack this. We've got awesome people here. I loyalty, honesty, integrity matter more to me than, and loyalty is the most important thing. Hachiko the dog. You know the story of Hachiko the dog? Because I'm going to tell you Hachiko the dog. Hachiko is an Akita puppy. Japanese professor. One day when he was going to get on the train and go to his university where he was a professor, Hachiko breaks out of the yard and follows him there and watches him get on the train. And this began a tradition where every day they would walk together to the train station. Hachiko would see him off and then leave. This is a dog. And then at 5 o'clock, Hachiko would come back to the train station, wait for him to get off, and they would walk home together. I think this happened for about 2 years. One day while at university, the professor suffered a stroke and died, was taken away, and Hachiko stayed at the train station waiting for him, and he never showed up. Over the next several years, they tried to rehome Hachiko, but he kept escaping and running back to that train station, waiting for his friend. That is loyalty. For 10 years, Hachiko waited, and he never came back. They built a statue in his honor. There's a famous story where someone had recorded audio at the train station, which included the sound of Hachiko barking. A vinyl recording, shattered, was bonded back together so that the people of Japan could hear a dog bark. That's the importance of loyalty. It matters a lot. Blind loyalty, not so much. True loyalty, giving a chance to those you care about, matters so much. So what I will say is, you know, we've got people here at Timcast who certainly say things I don't agree with. And it's funny because I accuse people of having Israel derangement syndrome. And I certainly don't think Cassandra Fairbanks, has Israel derangement syndrome. I think Cassandra is very smart and completely understands her criticisms of Israel, and I respect it. But I don't get nearly as fervent on the issue. And she works here. And it's funny because people are like, you work for Tim Pool, he's a shill for Israel. And I'm like, yo, Cassandra can literally say anything she wants. And she does. And there's no circumstance where I'm going to tell her to stop saying what she wants to say. It is an absurdity to me that a company would exist where it's like, we want to control the opinions of our staff. If somebody worked here and they were a communist, maybe there's a line, to be fair. But I got to be honest, we've had people skate at the boonies who are leftists. And you know why it's fine and okay, and I'm not going to throw them out? Because I had this guy say to me, hey, look, man, like, I know we disagree politically, but we're here to skate together. And I'm like, awesome. That's the game. That's life, okay? You and I were going to disagree, and we're going to skate together and find out where we as Americans can work together. And so there are people here who we've got dramatically different opinions. There's a couple people, I think, who are staunch advocates for Israel. And at the same time, there's Cassandra, who's like just is the like one of the most fervent critics of Israel. I love that. I think it's an important thing for a company like ours to have respectful disagreements with each other and still be able to eat pizza and wings and hang out, knowing that we fiercely disagree, because the success of like what we want to succeed at is making sure this country remains cohesive despite our disagreements. That's what it's supposed to be. That's what it was for a long time. That's what I hope for. So I can't say I'm better than anybody, any of these other channels. I like the Daily Wire. I am critical of the Daily Wire over the whole fiasco with Candace. I don't think it's completely one-sided in favor of Candace, but I think overwhelmingly, I think there are issues there where Candace is clearly in the right. Let's put it simply. She had opinions. They didn't like her opinions. If you're going to hire someone who has opinions for a show, I think you're going to have to accept that's the case. And we do at Timcast, like Cassandra's on Twitter saying whatever she wants. And people will say things like, aren't you worried Tim's going to get mad? She's like, he can't tell me what to say. And I'm like, I wouldn't dream of it. Like, I love it. It makes me feel so good inside knowing Cassandra says whatever she wants. Like, and Phil too. Phil says whatever he wants. Phil doesn't even, Phil is not an employee of this company. He contracts, and as an aside, appears as a frequent recurring guest. And I'm just like, dude, all of these people need to be their own people who can speak their minds when they want to. That is the integrity of what Timcast is. Like this company it's me. I have my opinions. Certainly there are people who are like, Tim has all yes men around him and whatever. And it's like, maybe, I'm not going to be so blind as to be like, look, I'm the boss and there are people who don't want to piss me off or whatever. But for the most part, I encourage people to disagree. And I'm glad they do. I've never told anyone to delete social media posts. The most I've ever done is I've asked someone to consider what the effect of their post may have. And then they were like, are you telling me to take it down? I was like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Keep your post up. Like, I will never be that guy. Your opinion offends me and I'm the boss. Like, nah, get out of here, man. We'll navigate that. And there people get pissed off about it. We get accused of shilling for Israel and also being anti-Israel at the same time. We had someone go on this tirade on Twitter claiming that we are anti-Israel and we won't book them because we hate Jews and stuff. And Cassandra, I love this. She's so critical of Israel and she books tons of Jews who are pro-Israel because she's of sound mind. I think we do a good job. I do. I'll say for PBD, I also think he's brilliant. Man, but why did he hire Cuomo? Why did he hire Cuomo? I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not perfect, dude, but I appreciate the super chat. I really do. What is this? Indy says, Meet Kevin just sued CNN. Yo, can we pull that up? Meet Kevin. He's a good dude. I had him on, I think we had him on the Culture War. I like that guy. Meet Kevin. Let's see. Is that it? I'm pulling up his Twitter account right now. Let's see. He's got that one. Here's a video of, whoa. All right, let's do this. Let's roll this segment. Ladies and gentlemen, we have this story, a tweet from Meet Kevin. Breaking news. We've just filed a lawsuit against CNN to protect free speech during the Trump versus Biden debate. CNN's refusal to allow independent commentary stifles diverse voices and violates fair competition. This is not just about a debate. It's about preserving the integrity of public discourse in America. We demand that CNN allow independent voices to provide live commentary. Americans deserve to hear from all sides, especially on such a crucial day. Completely agree. Excuse me. We will not stand by as CNN ignores nonpartisan norms, silences candidates with mic mutes, and a lack of in-studio audience, silences independent media, and silences public commentary during the debate by banning streamers and YouTubers from covering the event. This is corporate discrimination, unfair competition, a felony under the Antitrust Act, violates FCC regulations, violates the Communications Act of 1934, violates the First Amendment, and violates the Fair Use Doctrine. I'm going to shout out corporate discrimination and unfair competition. CNN says Fox, ABC, whoever else, they get to run this, but you can't, independent personalities. That is absolutely unfair. Unfair competition. Amazing. All we ask is that CNN allow independent creators to comment on the debate stream so that Americans can listen to the commentary, fact checkers, or whomever they'd like to during one of the most critical days in American history. CNN censorship is un-American and undemocratic. By silencing debate commentary and threatening DMCA takedowns of the debate stream, CNN destroys the public forum, which is a presidential debate. They ruin election integrity and they rob Americans of critical perspective at the most critical time during the debate. Agreed. He is spot on. Want no commentary? Go to CNN. Want Fox's opinion? Listen on Fox News. Want Patrick Bet David, Timcast, Breaking Points, or David Pakman Show? You should have the right to choose and listen to their commentary during the most critical moments. We will not stand by and do nothing. We will fight for what's right in America, and we will pay for it. We will lead the fight against the corporation, the corruption of CNN. This isn't even the first time CNN's tried to silence me, but the censorship ends now. Retweet and share to help us get an emergency injunction today. This is critical for America. I hope to stream on X, Twitch, and YouTube my debate commentary today. See you soon. Bravo. Oh, dude, right on. We had this conversation internally about what our legal remedies were. And the issue is, yeah, you need an emergency injunction barring CNN from filing DMCA takedowns on this. Let me play some of what Meet Kevin's has to say on this one. It is a longer video, so I don't know that I can play the full thing for you guys, but let's listen.
You've just filed a lawsuit against CNN for their un-American censorship of independent media outlets on a very historic night. The Trump versus Joe Biden presidential debate. It is currently 1:12 a.m. on the morning of the debate. We have just finished compiling our lawsuit, and we are seeking an emergency injunction to make sure you get fair access to commentary about this debate. CNN right now desires unchecked power to control 50% of the presidential debates we're expecting to get in the 2024 election. It's a nasty power grab, and unfortunately, CNN might get away with it unless we stop them. This is not about left versus right. This isn't about a Democrat or Republican. This is about America and CNN being anti-democratic, anti-American. That's why, again, just moments ago, we filed a substantial lawsuit against CNN. And we're asking for your help. We're hoping you could share this and let anybody you know that there is now a lawsuit against CNN. And all we're asking is that they allow independent journalists and anybody who wants to comment on the debate live stream to allow them to exercise their First Amendment privilege to comment and to provide insight to anybody who wants.
So I'll add this. Follow me on X at Timcast. I just retweeted this. You guys, if you can, retweet this, blast that, let everybody know what Meet Kevin is doing. I do want to stress, we don't need CNN's permission. And so I think the framing here is important. What we are demanding is that CNN not abuse DMCA automated systems to falsely shut down legitimate commentary and criticism shows. That's what matters right here. This is a tremendous move. Let's play a little bit more.
So that way, if you want to flip between CNN or Fox and you want to hear Fox commentary during the debate, you can do that. You want to flip over to listen to my buddy Tim Pool or my friends over at Breaking Points. You want to listen to Patrick Bet David, or you want to listen to what Kevin has to say during the debate, or you want to flip between all of us while we're streaming the debate. You would be able to if we can get the injunction we need. We're filing this lawsuit to get an emergency hearing. We're not asking for money. We're just asking for your help in getting the word out. So that way we can hopefully get a federal court to look at our injunction request and grant it before the debate. We've got to move fast. So right now, before we get into some of the details of the lawsuit, if you can, hit like, retweet, post it on Facebook, whatever you got to do for the algorithm. Help us out on this one. You know that you stand for free speech. I stand for free speech, and we're just here to fight the good fight to make sure free speech and independent journalists are allowed to comment on the debate.
Hey, man, I really respect this. We didn't know if we could make a move like that. We didn't know how we would make a move like that. How we would. Meet Kevin. You are on top of it. Because we had discussed this. Do we send a cease and desist? Do we request an injunction? He went for it. So I hope he succeeds. And it's generally simple. We expect, based on CNN's statements to the press, to the public, and to various channels, that their intention is to try and use automated DMCA to take down any show that is going to provide commentary, because they're trying to privatize the public sector in a way that I think is unprecedented. As an aside, I just want to point out, I have this amazing, this is President Joseph R. Biden, and on the back, Donald Trump in prison. It's the president or prison coin. I just figured as I was listening to Meet Kevin, I'd pop these open. I got two of them. I'm going to open the other one. The one of, they really sealed these boxes, I got to tell you. I got the one right here of Biden in prison. Here we go. There we go. Easy enough. Oh, what's this? Let me pull it out. President Prison Collection. Here we have Donald Trump. Oh, this thing's falling apart. Donald Trump being sworn in the back, Joe Biden in prison. How about that? We got them both, ladies and gentlemen, because we are milquetoast centrists here for you guys. Just as an aside, totally unrelated to this segment. But I do want to give a shout out to Meet Kevin. I'm going to put this one up in about an hour as a standalone clip so that more people can find out about what he's working on and get this injunction. Just another big move, I suppose, in pushing back against CNN. And I don't know. It's wild, but I'm not surprised. I mean, CNN is a desperate, dying entity, as we already saw in this. Look at this one. I'm going to bring this up in this segment as well, just I think it's important. 80,000 in their key demo. They're just outright admitting it. 80,000. That is absolutely wild. That's barely any people. I mean, dude, holy crap. I got a video of me doing a switch hard flip on Instagram. It's got 200,000 views. That's crazy. CNN is in dire straits, and in their desperation, they are going to lash out. I put up a video yesterday of just like a really basic skate run. It's got 70,000 views. CNN's losing it. They're desperate. I hope we can see an emergency injunction. I kind of don't think that we will. I will add this, though. I have had communications with some individuals. I need to be careful about how I say this, but let me just say, my understanding is YouTube may not comply with these takedowns. I think this is having something to do with the attack seems to be against YouTube as an entity and not against the individual personalities. Like I mentioned in a previous segment, CNN is telling big channels, we can use the stream on our websites and charge money and all that stuff, just not YouTube. I think YouTube is taking personal offense to that, being told that they are not allowed to have this stream on their platform, but that we are all allowed to. What this does, this is fascinating. CNN has launched an unprecedented attack on YouTube to force its biggest personalities to monetize their own platforms and websites, damaging YouTube. I can respect it to a certain extent, except we use YouTube. So there is a big challenge, because I have talked about this with some of the other personalities too. Like, do we just do our commentary streams on our websites then? And not have to worry about any takedowns, not have to worry about YouTube? It seems like CNN is exploiting YouTube's automated system to force YouTube to lose massive portions of its audience. CNN's desperation and loss of ratings, this may be their strategy. They would rather see Timcast and whoever else succeed on an independent level with their own audience than allow YouTube to have this monopoly on rebroadcasting. this is just bad news for YouTube. But I'll wrap this segment up because that was the gist of it. That was an important one. And we'll head back over to Super Chat. So make sure you follow me on X at Timcast. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. Share the show. This is my morning show channel. And y'all, if you want to share this one and subscribe if you haven't. And also head over to timcast.com. Click join us, become a member. And let's go. We'll be back tonight at 8 p.m. for the debate. For those that are watching live right now, we'll go into Super Chats. But the rest of you, we will see you later tonight. Thanks for watching. And that's a wrap on that segment. Let's grab your Super Chats. And I think we'll do another 10 minutes or so, giving us a 2-hour live morning show and then allowing my crew time to come in and actually start building out this multi-streaming system. Let's see what we got. Brian Holloway says, I just drove past Biden's house in Wilmington, Delaware, and he is home getting his amphetamines cocktail. Why is he here for any other reason? Oh, he's at his house? I thought he was at Camp David. Vortom says, love the show. Any plans to have Andrew Wilson back on? I know it got heated on the last culture war, but he definitely is an interesting character. Definitely. Heated is what we want. We were supposed to wrap up the culture war. It's a 2-hour show and win an extra hour as we debated Civil War. But my disagreement and my frustration with Andrew Wilson is let me, my friends, if you see a kid playing with matches, you're going to be like, hey, be careful there. That's going to start a fire. And then a few minutes later, you see smoke coming out of the backyard and there's a fire there. And you go, there's a fire right there. You guys should put that fire out. If that fire doesn't, it's a small fire right now, but it could get big. Then everyone's like, yeah. Then a few hours later, you come back and the fire is now burned down the garage. And you're like, holy crap, the garage is gone. And they're like, yeah, whatever. And then the fire's still spreading to other garages. And you're like, guys, if this fire doesn't get put out, the neighborhood will go up. Andrew Wilson's general response, and people like him, which frustrates me, is it's going to be put out. Fires burn themselves. And you're like, it is worse than it's ever been. The argument was basically, he said, you keep saying Civil War's coming. Where's the Civil War, Tim? Where's the Civil War? And I was like, it's really funny because I've addressed that point a million times. I've never literally said there will be a Civil War tomorrow. I said the things we are seeing are the paths to Civil War, are historically reminiscent of the precursors to Civil War. I said academics, authors on left and right, that we are in civil strife, like Bleeding Kansas, the period before a Civil War. That means escalation. The next escalation is active civil conflict in this country, which I don't believe necessarily starts right away. Andrew Wilson did not have a direct response to that other than he didn't research it. He doesn't know. He just thinks Biden will win and that conservatives will just accept it. I think that is an absurd, nonsensical statement. And that was the debate. The idea that after the summer of love and Joe Biden's election, when Trump supporters actually rioted at the Capitol building and stormed in, that this time around they're too tired and nothing will happen just seems like an absurdity. For like, what is the logical pathway to make the argument that this time Biden will win again and now Trump supporters are going to go, oh, well, we tried 4 years ago. I guess we're done. Nice. It was good having a country. I'm going home. That doesn't make any sense at all. My argument was, we have a multitude of scenarios that could happen in the event of a Biden victory, but regardless of who wins, nobody will accept the results. And the likely scenario is simply a shattering of confidence in government. That is to say that Trump supporters, people on the right, will begin to view the government as illegitimate. They will lose confidence in law enforcement apparatus. They will begin to regard laws in the same way the far left and Antifa does. What we have already seen in blue cities, in Portland, where Antifa goes around with guns and rifles and takes over and does whatever they want, we will see a right-wing version of that in smaller towns. Not that the right is going to go storm buildings and kill people or anything like that, but that they're going to stop regarding the law as something that matters to them in their daily lives. This is the precursor to social decay, the collapse of the Soviet Union, and things like this. I don't see how any of that is incorrect. Like, these are all just basic fact statements. The far left has already disregarded their laws. Portland and these leftist cities are already in chaos. There's already roving bands of marauders smashing up department stores in L.A., Chicago, New York, and in San Francisco and Washington. That's the norm. Now, Andrew's response was, yeah, but that's the left. That's the left. That's what the left does. And it's like, right, I know. It's unprecedented. In the past few years, it's been an escalation. In 2018, when I said, wow, the media is talking about potential for civil war, we looked at the ground assessment and the academic approach, perspective, and history. And yeah, this is a track towards that. We'll see. Hopefully it doesn't happen. And since then, what have we gotten? The Summer of Love riots, the Chaz, the George Floyd Autonomous Zone, the Wendy's Autonomous Zone in Atlanta. We've had sections of city taken over by far leftists. We had Stop Cop City, where 100 plus far left extremists firebombed equipment, burned down houses, flipped over a guy's truck. I'm like, all of these things are unprecedented, and that's why they call it civil strife. Now, by all means, please explain to me where you think the off-ramp for all of that is, where people decide to simmer down, where law enforcement decides to actually reinforce instead of defunding, where people start to fear the police. When you've got chain stores shutting down because of inflation, when you've got Walgreens shutting down because of mass shoplifting, and still you have roving bands smashing up department stores, this is all escalation, and it is all easily predictable. And I predicted it. But it's general vague predictions. Hey, guys, if there's a fire over here and no one does anything about it, we're expected to see a fire get bigger in the next 4 years, and that's literally what's happened. So that was the gist of the debate. Andrew Wilson's view is that come the election, Joe Biden will win. Trump supporters will calmly accept it and do nothing. That's a shocking assessment to me. I think that makes no sense at all. But he was like, yeah, they're not going to do anything. Republicans aren't going to do anything. Biden's going to win. It's going to be the same thing for the next 4 years. And I'm like, I mean, that feels, I suppose the probability is there, of course. I make the argument every time I talk about this that for all I know, tomorrow, Trump comes out with a tear in his eye and says, we cannot have this division. Biden, come here, buddy. They hug. And then he calls on all Trump supporters to become friends with Biden supporters. And everyone just sings a song holding hands on the rainbow. Right. The reason I describe it that way is like, that's never going to happen. They're advancing child sex change surgery. They're trying to get abortion past the point of birth. States are hyperpolarizing. People are moving between states due to hyperpolarization. Florida's become deeper red. Oklahoma bans abortion. Colorado unrestricts it completely to the point of birth. Everything we are seeing is indicative of hyperpolarization and escalation of violence. Explain to me why you think that stops. Maybe it does. I'm just saying that doesn't really seem likely, does it? It's a weird. What frustrates me is the people who are like, despite the fact that we've seen dramatic escalation on every single front, including international conflict, despite the fact that the federal government has become hyperpolarized, that Merrick Garland is defying subpoenas, the DOJ will not hold him accountable. Meanwhile, an unprecedented maneuver, former executive branch staffers Bannon and Navarro are going to prison. Navarro's in prison. Bannon's going to prison. Unprecedented. The president has been charged with 90 plus criminal indictments. Criminal charges. They're trying to put him in prison. They've convicted him. All of this is unprecedented. And the response from people is, nothing's going to happen. And I'm like, but it did happen. What world do you live in? They're trying to put Trump in prison. They took over several city blocks in their towns. They shot and killed people in the streets. In Provo, Utah, they went up to a car and shot a guy for no reason. In Portland, they shot and killed several people. They unloaded for 10 minutes hundreds of rounds from rifles into a white. It was a white truck being it was a joyride by a couple teenagers. In Atlanta, they took over and burned down a Wendy's. Stop Cop City raided police property and torched private homes. That's crazy. To say this is the peak and it stops. Perhaps it's as hard as things get and everyone goes, we better simmer down. But if the only thing we've seen over the past 8 years has been escalation and more escalation, I don't see what the argument is for nothing happening in November. That just seems to make literally no sense. If the academics left and right think that this is civil strife and we do not have any calm, in fact, the media is just fanning the flames. Joy Reid said Trump adores Hitler or something to that effect. Like, it's only getting crazier. But we're going to do this. We got 10 more minutes. We're going to read your super chats. Actually, there may not be enough super chats for 10 minutes, but we'll read what you got. All right. Let's do this. We'll scroll up a little bit and see what we've got. All right. Kermit Akilla says, I always watch on YouTube, but I also have a IRL membership. So if you get the boot, I'll be there. Right on. I really do appreciate it. Christian W says, I think there's a good chance the current administration has been given the questions ahead of time, and Trump will be given extremely biased questions. The format lends itself to this very well. Would be the story of the year if true. Oh, yeah. The bonus holes, good name, says, Elon lied about free speech. We've been permabanned since April. All appeals denied. We broke no laws. I don't think that Elon lied. I think that Elon as a single individual is not capable of handling the entirety of this machine and hundreds of millions of users, which is the problem. All right, Jack Johnson says, will Trump's team be recording the debate on phones to show uncut footage in case CNN wants to play cheap fake games? Well, that's the importance of commentary shows so that we can counter those narratives for sure. I hope they are. The bonus hole says, tell Elon to free at the bonus holes. I wonder why you got banned. Barely a Millennial says, Tim, have you ever considered offering crowdsourced projects on Timcast website for us to put extra money towards? Well, we want to open up the source code for our video game, which kind of just died. And it's called Normie Quest. And I think it's funny, and it's still a good game. It needs work, but it's fun. And so we want to release that to our Discord members so they can have at it, crowdsource. Bitorn says, alleged felon / allegedly guilty. The left plays games with words. So can we. No better example of convicted felon being meaningless than Michael Cohen. Oh, yeah. Joe Biden's been credibly accused of rape. Credibly accused. Credibly. Stupid. People fall for this. Flooded Timber Farm says, I can respect the right for trying to build culture, but holy ish was DW's Mr. Burcham and X's new norm so bad. DW's Terror on the Prairie sucked too. Did it really? I mean, I gotta be honest, I didn't see him. It's a bummer about Mr. Burcham. I gotta give a shout out to Seamus Coughlin. He's funny. He's very funny. So, you know, hopefully. But keep trying. Keep trying. Leon Yoder says, I just think if you work for a news company like Timcast News, then you should try your best to appear neutral on controversial, divisive topics like Israel. Incorrect. Cassandra has a tremendous integrity and honor, and she's very critical of Israel, and she's very critical of many politicians, and I'll tell you exactly how it goes down in the newsroom. When a story emerges for which Cassandra knows she's biased, she says, I cannot be involved in this story, I'm biased, and that's what you should do. The idea that journalists are unbiased on everything or should pretend to be, I think is silly. However, the problem is, what corporate press does is they go, it's impossible to be unbiased. All people have biases. Therefore, we're allowed to lie to you. No. Here's what you do. Cassandra will post in our newsroom. She'll say, wow, this story's crazy. There's no way I can write about this fairly. And then someone else will pick the story up. That's what you do. I'm not going to pretend Cassandra likes Israel. That's stupid. There's no reason for her to pretend she likes it. She should absolutely speak her mind. And then when these stories come up, she can hand them off to people where it will be done better. The one area where I think this is not that big a deal is when Cassandra writes about monkeys. She's absolutely biased. She loves monkeys. Monkeys are based. And so when she writes about monkeys, she writes with passion. That I think is totally fine. But when it comes to issues of like political matters, Cassandra always hands the story off when she has a conflict of interest over her beliefs. This is why I think she's one of the best in news media, and she does a tremendous job. Really amazing work. And that's why we're good friends, because she has honor and integrity. And that's me. You gotta. I can't. There's so many of these leftists have none. Okay. Shout out to Cassandra. You're awesome. All right. Vortome says, love the show. Any plans to have Andrew? Oh, I did read that one. Absolutely. That'd be great. Far Ficugger says, hi, you play shenanigans just as I. Well, I only pull it out for hardcore blue players. Scrambleverse has entered the chat. Absolutely. Scrambleverse. Scrambleverse, that's where you shuffle all permanents and then distribute them randomly, right? All of that stuff. Now, to be fair, my favorite deck that I've built is Thassa. Thassa, at the end of your turn, will remove one of your cards from play and then enter it back into play, which just re-triggers enter the battlefield mechanics. And then you do a whole bunch of really powerful stuff by flickering cards with blue. A lot of counter spells. Really fun deck. And one of my favorite. It's a straightforward mono blue. And then I have a Kiki Jiki deck, which it's the Gilded deck. It's one of my favorites. Absurdly powerful with, Treacherous Ogre wins on like turn 3. ridiculous. And all of the cards are either original print or foil rare versions. So it's mono red, but there's like I have an alpha Gauntlet of Power in it. Whew. Yeah. Oh yeah. We got some expensive Magic the Gathering cards over here. I own an Ancestral Recall. I don't have that's the only Power 9 that I own. And boy, I wish when I was 12 I bought a Black Lotus. Man. Because it was like $350. Alpha Lotus I think might have been $7. All right, let's go. Oh, we'll grab a few more super chats here. Let's talk about Magic the Gathering. Hey, that's fun. Nikolai says, how many of you think that Timcast, according to other streamers, will get swatted during the debate? There will be no swattings at the new Timcast property. It is not possible. It is not possible for that to happen. At the castle, you're dealing with a house, and so they drive up to the house. It was a big mansion that we used as an office and everything. With Freedomistan, we're talking about a massive forested property in the middle of nowhere with barricades and multiple buildings, and it's just, you wouldn't be able to SWAT it because you don't know where we are. That's just it. Like, they wouldn't be able to figure it out. All right, let's grab some more. Ko Yemsi says, hey, Tim, if you lower your membership for a short time, I'll sign up and watch tonight on your website. There's actually a challenge that we have. We've considered whether we do lower memberships or where the number should be. And this is the number where we are doing well enough profit-wise, but not stressed. It's not like we don't have massive margins or anything. And we're playing a balancing act. The challenge we're facing is the inflation under Biden is absolutely psychotic. And so we may actually have to raise memberships in the next year. Hopefully Trump gets elected and turns things around and we don't have to worry about it. But two things happen. People can't afford the $10 and so they leave. And then we're like, do we have to lower it? It's like, well, we can't. Bandwidth costs, staffing costs, internet, electricity. If we lower it to try and get people back, we're just losing money now on other members. Like we don't cover those costs, those losses. With inflation, to cover the costs, we actually need to increase memberships. But then people will drop off and we lose money. So we're in a stasis period where it's like we're paralyzed. It's going to stay where it is. And it's a crazy challenge dealing with scale. For an individual who's like, I can afford $8, it's like, I respect, that's the number for you. The challenge is if we make it 8 for one person, then the people who are paying 10 drop. Like it's really complicated. What we could do is promo codes and, give everybody like the first month that it's, I don't know if we have actually the system set up to do a promo code like Daily Wire and other networks do, but we really need to, because we probably make way more members if we said sign up today and get 20% off or something. And so that's probably something we should figure out in the future. We are not as big technically as like the Daily Wire. They've got a massive infrastructure. All right. C. Gliss says, Tim, please put up CC on the CNN feed so that viewers can listen to commentary, but also read the debate. I don't know that we can. Oh, like, yeah. Whatever the closed cap. Yeah, for sure. The on the CNN, for sure. Adrian Curry says, offer monthly and yearly with a slight discount for yearly. We are not as robust as some of the bigger networks who are able to do that. Yearly has its pros and cons. We have to build the system. And it's like, man, we are stretched so thin. The thing about yearly is that with a discount, so if we did like it's $100 for the year, like $99 for the year, and then you end up saving a little bit, is you get a bulk of your memberships all at once, and then budgeting becomes a bit more difficult. So it's like, man, you always really want to go for monthly. Here's the challenge. With the yearly membership, people forget, and then come April, they get hit by $100, and they go, like, holy crap, I forgot that was happening, and then you get chargebacks, and we're not big enough to sustain large chargebacks, so it's like, oof. We want to. I think ultimately it's an issue of we're really just one big show with a lot of members, and we're not like the Daily Wire where it's a bunch of shows and a big network with a big technical team. So, we still want to figure that one out. All right, let's go. What's this? Robert Mara says, I'll still bet you $100 they pull the move to make President Trump try to break his gag order, and all the outlets just run about how he has no regard for the law. I don't disagree. Yeah, I don't disagree. All right, we'll grab one more here. Furryhawk says, hey, Tim, do you ever draft in Magic the Gathering? In my opinion, it's the best way to play the game. I would love to draft battle you and the crew. I disagree. I don't like drafts. I don't like drafts at all. And so for those that don't know what drafting is, you get sealed booster packs of 14 cards each. You open them up, you pull a card, and then you pass the pack to your left or your right and until all the cards are gone. Then you open the next pack and you pass them to your right, or the opposite side, and you choose a card until... So that way it's like balanced. Dude, the last draft I was in was during Theros. And I think it was Theros. It might have been Journey into Nyx or something. Someone pulled in a Johnny Planeswalker. And it's just like, congratulations. You got a mythic rare and one of the most powerful. And now you can't lose the draft. And guess what? They won. They undefeated. It's like, great. They made their deck. They got a Johnny. No one had any effective means of dealing with such a powerful card. And the dude won. And I'm like, that's dumb. I also don't like constructed standard. That's boring. The meta is solved instantly. Commander is the way to go. And that's why it's the most popular format. Certainly, decks can get ridiculous with dual commander, CEDH, and things like that, competitive. Like the Nadu deck that I built, it's just, it wins on turn 2 or 3. It's so dumb. And I'm like, it's just so silly. That card is OP, and it makes the game boring. So it's fun to have, kooky commanders and fun, silly games. That's the most fun when you're playing with 4 people and the game lasts for an hour and you're like, everyone's taking their turns, but they're reasonable turns. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not a fan of drafting. Constructed, maybe, but it really just comes down to, did you pull the rare card? And that's like, ugh. Pauper. Pauper's pretty good. And actually, maybe drafting Pauper might be the way to go. Pauper, for those that don't know what this means, it means you're playing with only common cards, so no higher power cards. That could be fun where you open the boosters, remove the rares and uncommons, and put them into your collection, and then you only draft with common cards. That might actually be more fun. My friends, this has been an extended 2-hour special pre-debate morning show with a couple of segments. I will have a couple of segments put up later. Many of you probably won't watch them because you've already seen it live, but I'll put those up and outside of this show. So I really do appreciate everybody watching for 2 hours. This has been fun. We're getting done earlier than I normally do so that we can start setting up for the multi-stream show and ordering food and hanging out. Tonight's going to be a blast. Follow me on X at Timcast, Instagram at Timcast, rumble.com/TimcastIRL. Subscribe to Timcast IRL on YouTube. I think we're going to be good. I don't think our show's going to get taken down off YouTube. I think we'll be good. I think so. So let's go. Become a member at timcast.com. Help us reinforce in this season. I want to stress, we've already been sued once this year. The matter has been resolved. And I hope. I assume the lawfare is going to get absolutely bonkers. The censorship will get nuts. If you like what we do, timcast.com memberships. Thanks for hanging out. And we'll see you all tonight at 8 p.m. for the start of IRL and then at 9 p.m. for this historic moment. Let's go. We'll see you all then. Thanks for hanging out.